Hey, everybody. Welcome. We are super excited tonight. I'm going to spotlight myself. I've been learning so much about Zooms lately. Yes. Hey, welcome. Hey, how is everybody doing? Hope you are getting ready for an amazing 4th of July. I guess it's not really a weekend, it's a week, but I'm sure everybody will be celebrating a huge week. But yes, everybody, please drop in your chat where you're dialing in from. Tell me how hot it was where you live. 110, 111 here with the humidity. It's when you look at your at your weather and it says it's 96, but feels like 115. So that's what it's like here. But folks, I am super excited. This is a monumental evening to share just a little tidbit, a little secret with you all. We had the opportunity a few weeks ago to have a nice little sit down with a new friend of ours, and we were going to wait till the event, but we figured, you know what, with everybody pushing in July, the incredible month we had in June, why not share that with you all this evening? And that is exactly what we're going to do. But before I get started and before I introduce you to Dr. Rob, I just want to say the amount of winners and the amount of announcements that has been going on the last 48 hours is amazing. And we haven't even got started yet. We are giving away so many things in July. It is going to be awesome. And I know tonight after you all have a chance to hear Dr. Rob and listen to him, I know Callie's going to pop on here and give away 7 more winners this evening. And those winners this evening are going to get something super special. So you got to make sure you stay tuned and hear that. Number 2, big announcement, and I know we'll share our screen later and talk about this later, but you probably saw it on Facebook. You saw it on the Frequence Affiliates page. We are doing the Freedom CBD Pack. 4th of July for the week, for Independence Day. And what you get, it's interesting. We talk about rising and vibing so much, and here's a great example of everybody. People do what you tell them to do, and all we talk about is rising and vibing, and we sometimes leave out the sync part. And our sync product is one of the greatest products that we have, with the CBN and the magnesium and the collagen and the amazing things in it that help you relax, help you rest. And it's a wonderful nighttime product. And I know many of you have probably already tried it, but if you haven't, you need to. But super huge special going on this week. And that is, if you buy the Freedom Pack, which you get 2 of the sink, you get 2 of the tubs of the sink, and we're going to let you pick one of the CBD products for free, whether it's the Balance or the Relieve. The Balance are the tinctures that go under your tongue that has the CBD and CBG in it. And the cream, the pain relieving cream, is the other one you get to choose, which is loaded with paraben-free, amazing healthy lotion, lots of essential oils, and of course CBD and CBG. And if you have those areas or there's times of discomfort or a little ache and pain here or there, that product is amazing. It is amazing, and we don't talk about it enough. It's one of the challenges sometimes when you have a product that absolutely blows up and takes off, that's all you talk about. And sometimes you forget that you have a product just as amazing, you just don't talk about it. So that was one of the goals of the Freedom Pack, was to give you guys an opportunity to not only get you a couple tubs of zinc, but to choose one of the CBD products. And they are amazing. They are amazing. And I know once you try them, you won't want to not try them. And the other thing is our summer mocktails. I have had so much fun going through the feed and looking how creative people are getting with their summer mocktails. It's amazing. I have seen more drinks and more ways and more things you can blend with your water or your sparkling water, or I sometimes I'll drink a Propel every now and then. I will put my Rise right in it. Like if I need a little flavor water taste, I'll pop my Rise right in it. It's amazing. Tails are going crazy. And we're going to be giving away a lot of stuff for that too. I know Patty, I saw that Patty had a post in there talking about how much we're giving away this month. And you guys, it's July 2nd. We have barely got started. Can you imagine how big this month can be for you? So with that said, Barb and I, when we obviously launched the company and really started to think about the nutrition with the frequency harmonies, the vibration, what that means. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into that with that bridge of how do you share that with people? And obviously, we have some very simple ways that we talk about it. But since we've started, we've always known we wanted to get an expert, a professional, someone who knows about frequency. And I'm going to tell you something. We didn't only find someone. We knocked it out of the park. Dr. Rob has been doing this for 24 years. His story's amazing. He's going to share that with you guys. We sat down on a little Zoom, just as kind of a little intro Zoom to just to talk, and we recorded it. And it turned out to be an amazing recording, and that's what I want to share with you tonight. I want you to get a little sense of who Dr. Rob DeMartino is, and he's out of Las Vegas. He currently practices. And what he does in his practice, he uses frequency in his practice. And on Mondays, all he does is teach other doctors. So he is legit. And not only that, he has agreed to come to Dallas. He's coming to our event. He's going to be speaking for an hour and a half. And you're going to hear it, and I talk about it in the deal. He talks about wanting to take this concept of frequency and how powerful it is, and make it so simple in layman's terms that everybody can understand it, because then, he said, the whole world will know about it. And everybody then will be able to get in tune and understand what frequency is and how it can really benefit you. So super, super excited. So what I am going to do, and don't forget, after Dr. Rob's done, we're drawing 7 winners. And the 7 winners that we're drawing tonight, you all are the winners. You're going to be eating lunch with Dr. Rob. So we have a lunch planned with Dr. Rob, and these 7 winners after this call, that's what Callie's going to be drawing for. So huge night. This is going to be awesome. It's about coming to Summit, Rise and Vibe Summit. Get off the fence. You got to get off the fence. Get your ticket. You got to go. I know it's summer. I know it's busy. It's a commitment. I know that. I know that more than anybody. But I also know what happens at events. And August 8th through 10th will be a legendary event. And I have been seeing texts and messages from the leaders that are speaking and what they're going to be speaking about, along with Dr. Rob, and who knows what else we're going to do. So get with your team. Do not miss this event. I'll promise you, from the instant you walk in the hotel, you will be a different person. And when you leave, I promise you, you will say, I will never miss one of these events again. That is our goal when we put on events, is to change people mentally. You're going to just feel better. So with that said, I'm going to get out of the way, folks, and I'm going to attempt to share my screen here and give you guys an opportunity to see our new Dr. Rob. Let's see what we can do here.
Recording in progress.
Hello, everybody. Dave and I are here today with Dr. DeMartino, brand new doctor we want to introduce to all of you. New to you, not new to us. Dave and I have been hearing about this Dr. Rob since, our business partner probably a couple years ago was telling us about this doctor that's world-renowned and the best at, frequency doctor, basically. And he was telling us how Dr. Rob had helped his son when, they realized maybe he needed some support at about age 5, and how today that kid is just really performing at an optimal level and incredibly healthy. Our friend Jennifer Grace was there that day and was telling us about her little girl when she was 2 years old, and they really learned about vibration and frequency and how maybe that would be something that would help her perform optimally. And both of them said, we don't know if it was Dr. Rob or maybe all the prayer, the nutrition, all the things, but there's something about Dr. Rob. And Dr. Rob, I had never met you in person until, we jumped on a Zoom together. Still haven't met you face to face, but when our granddaughter was born, with a rare situation, here we were launching Frequence, tremendous products, organic ingredients, optimal, all of the laboratory and the scientists and the chemists and all the things. And we decided to put this Frequence tune on our product. never in a million years did I think I would have a little granddaughter born last year that would have a situation where I would literally be looking for like, who's the best doctor to really bring Frequence to her body, and how we met. Like, God always has a plan, but to send you kind of what we were doing. I know Chance and Daisy met you in person in your office, and what you've done for our little Rosie is amazing already. But when they shared with you that we had launched a company, you know, with LaCour, and obviously you're very good friends with all of them, and for you to hear what we were doing with Frequence, and then to say, you know, I would be glad to be a part of this and bring that. Dave and I are just humbled to know you. We wanted to sit down together today and just interview you and introduce you to our friends and Frequence family so that we can continue to make impact. This is just the beginning of an amazing journey.
Oh, it is. And humbled and grateful is beyond the word. I mean, we've been in the world of nutrition a long time. And, you know, we've always known that listening to good things and feeling good things and the good vibes and vibration and frequency and all these things are a good thing. And even 12, 15 years ago, we thought about these things and how could we incorporate these things? And it's so new, so cutting edge, but at the same time, you can also make it so simple. And that is where there's no coincidences, and that's where we all come together. So, Dr. Rob, first of all, tell us about you and who you are and kind of how you came to be in this space.
Yeah, so I'm humbled and grateful too that everyone, and you guys included, keep trusting me with your family members and you know, anyone you get to work with. But for me, it started with family for me as well. You know, as a younger child, when I was 10, unfortunately, I lost my 17-year-old sister to cancer. And right after she passed away, and it was a 10-year battle, I got really sick. I started to have migraines. I started to really lose my health in a very profound way. And I spent 4 years from 10 to 14 really sick. And I basically didn't go more than 48 hours without a migraine at that point for 4 years. And I was in New York City, and I saw the best doctors. And I mean, even had my sister's doctors pulling strings from my family to try to get me into specialists just because they felt so bad for my family because my sister just passed, my health is falling apart. And it was actually a chiropractor back then. And again, I'm dating myself. This is back in the day. But you know, back then, he was the one who actually saved me and got me out of it. And so I determined, hey, I'm going to go to natural medicine. I'm going to go to chiropractic school. You know, after the medical system had kind of failed me, I went down this more natural route, and I got to chiropractic school, and I'm all gung-ho, and I'm excited to get into all of this. And my mom and dad came out to visit me, and they hit me with the, you better sit down conversation. And I sat down, and my mom says, look, I have leukemia.
Man.
Wow. And, you know, it was kind of a crushing blow. And, you know, deep down inside, as much as I love chiropractic, I think it's a wonderful healing modality. I knew I wasn't going to chiropractic that out of her. And at the time, you know, the doctors told her, look, this is an 8-year life expectancy. Don't expect 5. This is bad. This is going to get worse, and it's going to get real ugly. So my mom and I finally had this meeting where we said, look, you know, I have to take over this. Like, this is going to be my job, and I'm going to take over your healthcare. Now, we're Italian, and we have Italian guilt, and my mom didn't want me to be anywhere involved in her healthcare because her feeling was if she died, you know, I was going to blame myself. And I'm of the more mentality of, look, if it's going to be on somebody, it's going to be on me. Right? No one's going to care about you the way I do. No one's going to fight for you the way that I do. If I do the best I can and the cards fall where they may, I can live with that. But if you bench me and you put me on the sidelines and you don't let me play, that's torture. So finally, after some, you know, talking, we finally got her to go along. And that's really what started my journey into frequency-based medicine. Because as we learned more about the immune system, you know, and it's a very strong immune system disorder. And the more I was seeing, and now by this point I'm in clinical practice, and I'm seeing all these autoimmune diseases, I'm seeing all these people with these cancers, I'm seeing all these different types of problems. And I'm seeing like, hey, look, I can make these great changes with nutrition, but I would go to all of these seminars, and you know, thank goodness my wife is very cool, and she lets me fly all over the world to go to all these different seminars and hear all these different experts. And you know, they would always say, look, we can get so far, but then there's a limit. Like, this isn't going to go away, but you can really manage it. And in my head, it just didn't work for me. It just didn't click. And I said, there's got to be a way to fix this. There's got to be a way to get people better than beyond what we're just experiencing now. And that's what kind of opened my eyes. And I didn't have the opportunity to be closed-minded because my mom's life was on the line, right? I had to be open and willing and put aside dogma and be willing to look at anything. And I ventured heavily into frequency-based medicine because that's where I thought the answers lied. And the more I learned and the more that we applied, and, again, that as time goes by, I mean, I started doing this in 2000. Think about where the internet, where cell phones were at that point. We didn't really have the technology that we have now. So it was this perfect time in order to be able to get this understanding of all this, but it was in its infancy. And now all of a sudden we reach 25 years later where you got this technology that allows us to apply all of these things. And I'm happy to say, at the end of this year, it'll be 25 years from my mom's diagnoses.
Wow.
You're always fighting for time. It's our one resource we can never get back. But, she got to see all my kids, right? She got to meet all my kids, know her. We spend every weekend with them. It is a part of our lives and is a part of our family. And it wouldn't be around if there wasn't this understanding of frequency and what it means to our body and what it means to health.
Wow.
When you think of, I had a doctor tell me one time that, and I know, we look at ourselves and our bodies, we're human beings, we're people, when you feel good, when you don't. We all know that. But it's that time when you don't feel good that you struggle and you're trying to get to where, man, I just wish I had more energy, or I felt better, or I wasn't sick, or whatever it was. And I remember a doctor one time said, our bodies are kind of like a battery. They have minerals, they have water, and when you get run down, you need charge back up. And I think that for me, that is where, I know eating good food and good nutrition and, getting sunlight and breathing good air and doing all these things. But, on the frequency side, the vibration side, just those things, how do you see that play out when you look at a human being, just that, because again, a lot of people compare, I'm going to eat an apple, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. That's right. Everybody thinks that way. How do we shift that? What's your philosophy? And I keep going back to that phrase you said, on our first Zoom, that how cool would it be if you could create that movement, but had it in a way that everybody could understand and then share it? And that's what I think I'm most excited about.
Well, yeah, it's because I think I told you, I spend most of my time researching. And then the other open portion of my time I spend saying, okay, now how would I explain this to somebody so that they have any kind of understanding of, this is really complicated science. You start to get into to physics and things that we just don't understand. And the simple analogy that I usually give people is, if you think about a car, we're in Vegas, right? So we just had Formula One racing here not too long ago, right? So we have the Formula One racing. So you got these Formula One race cars. They have these incredible engines. And they need the premium fuel in these engines to make them work. And we are the same. We need premium fuel in our bodies to make it work. But if the engine is broken, premium fuel doesn't get you very far. And it's the reason why some people will go to the doctor and they feel terrible. And the doctor looks at their blood work and it says, hey, everything looks great. And they say, but I don't feel great. Then you have the flip side where people are like, I feel wonderful. And then they look at their blood work and like, yeah, but you shouldn't. Right? The blood work looks terrible. So how do you explain those two things, right? I sat with a couple the other day. She's got a laundry list of health problems. It took me an entire page to write down everything she has wrong. And her husband kept telling her, I should tell you, all you should do is my cheeseburger and beer and cigarette diet. And he's as healthy as a horse. And this poor thing she's like, everything is organic. I watch every bit of food that goes into my mouth. I exercise, every day. I do this, I do Pilates. And she's like, how can I be so sick and he can be so well? It's simple enough. Premium engines can overcome sometimes not the greatest fuel. And when you go by trends, right, the most common thing on Google, like you said, everyone would fight for more energy, right? If you could say, hey, would you like more energy? Even if you have a tremendous amount of energy, you're going to say yes, right? Everyone would want more energy. It's a great thing. Well, the energy production in the human body is based off of physics, not chemistry, right? 80 to 90% of the people that we see have an engine problem, not a nutritional problem. And that's why I was telling them, do the nutrition portion first. It's important. I'm not saying it's not. Don't eat cookies and candies and cakes and stuff. It's an important thing. But sometimes that solves it for people, and that's great. It's like, look, your engines are fine. You're just putting in the wrong fuel. Clean that up, and maybe that works. But if this is really, truly an engine problem, which is what you get when you start getting into autoimmune diseases, you start getting into neurological disorders, you start to get into the bigger, badder problems that we run into. When you start getting into those guys, now a lot of the times we have the associated engine problems. But if you can marry those two ideas, we don't want to throw chemistry out, but if you can marry the chemistry with the physics, now you have a premium engine, a Formula One engine, and you have premium fuel, you're going to do very, very well for a very long period of time. And it's the way that you recover your health back.
Wow. So I've seen some of the things that you've done, with frequency, and I know it's so expensive for people to really get, even when we get a tuned bracelet or, a lot of people are like, they can't see how it would work. So in their mind, they're like, I don't know if I want to invest that much money. And, that's why we had this idea to do the frequency on nutrition, with the little medallions. Now, I know when you heard about it, Chance was like, Dr. Rob was like, wow, you're really doing that? What we're trying to do is educate people on the power of changing the frequency in their body along with nutrition. So, you're very familiar with our partner. He likes to say it's a brand new category we created. But Dr. Rob, we have exploded this company with an incredible product. People feel the difference. They know there's a difference. But Dave and I are not a doctor. And we have waited 90 days now since the official website went live because it's very scary to attach yourself to an expert. Plus, it's very expensive. And, a lot of doctors are like, they're not like you, where they're like, their passion is just educating people on this and making it make sense. And you don't want to just go hire an expert. You got to be careful who you attach your brand with. But I feel like this organically came to be where you're literally holding my granddaughter on a weekly basis, telling them, one day, I do believe she's going to get past this. And how do you explain in layman's terms, or, in a level that Dave and we have studied that actually Dave's kind of a geek on this. He's been a geek on this since we've been married 30 years.
No, I'm a geek on it to where I'll go on YouTube to figure out how to build a chair or fix a cabinet and I'll do it halfway. That's
Halfway, yeah.
No, but he has.
At least you try. I don't even do that.
Yes. He's been passionate about this since I was like, Dave, I don't know. Why do you think you have to figure this out? And he's constantly been like, everything is energy and energy is everything. And our bodies are energy and matter. And how do you get all this to work? And I'm always like, I don't know. It's like a light switch. I flip it on. I know it works. I don't have to figure it all out. Yeah. Dave is that guy that's always been trying to figure it out. And I'm just so grateful that, we could bring you on here. And I'm so excited that you're going to be training our field because we are not the doctor. We are not the expert, but we have this purpose and this passion. And we see what frequency did for our daughter during a time when, she was doing what the doctor said and she was trying to get the right nutrition, but all things weren't firing on all engines. And when we applied, tuning, there was a major difference. So it's different for everyone. We're not making any claims. It's very confusing to some people, but the way you explained it to us the other day was so amazing. So, Dave and I would just love for you to kind of share why you believe frequency makes such a difference to the body.
It's because it's literally how we're made, right? We are designed to get different types of frequency at different points, and our body signals through frequency as well. We tend to have this idea of something very tangible, and it's this electrical firing. So I'll give you a perfect example. We had a guy, and he had an injury where part of his arm had gotten cut off by a car accident, and it was a big scoop injury. So basically it looked like someone took an ice cream scoop and scooped it out a part of his arm, and he lost the ability to move his hand. And in the process of all of that, it had been years. He had no nerve signaling through that. So we worked through frequency, and we got him the ability to actually physically close his hand. So we're like, wow, this is great. We're going to send him back to the neurologist, and he's going to find out that we reinstituted nerve signaling. And he goes back to the neurologist, and they run the nerve exams and everything else, and it comes back, no nerve signal. They're confused. We're confused. Patients confused. But all they know is they got that function back. And it's because, look, there's a whole different way, right? There's this chemical signaling way that we were taught in school and we're still taught in school. But there's this entire other way of the way the body actually ends up communicating. And we use this in every aspect of our lives. When you go home, right, you just came home from your trip, right? You come home, you hit your garage door opener to pull your car in, your garage door opener opens. Not your neighbor's, not the guy down the street, your door, because that frequency is tuned to your door. When I pick up my cell phone and I go to call someone, I don't randomly call people, right? I know that number attaches to that person. So we've known for decades now at this point, the human body has different frequencies of which it resonates with. Okay, your liver resonates this way. Your brain resonates this way. And that resonance happens with our environment. So we have to connect to our environment. Now, look, it's great that we have all of these wonderful things. I'm not trying to sleep outside on the floor. I work really hard to make sure my kids have a place to sleep at night. But at the end of the day, the more we get hooked with tech, the more we distance ourselves from those natural frequencies, and we need to put them back in some sort of way, whether that's through tech, whether that's through supplementation like you guys are doing. But basically, all disease comes down to the simple ideology of what we call energetic debt, where the body is either not making enough energy, it's expending too much energy, or it's not using it efficiently. And because if you have plenty of energy, it's like, if you and I and Elon Musk went to the biggest casino in town and he bet $1 billion on one hand of cards, that would seem crazy to everybody else in the building. Yes. But if he loses that, he's still got like $270 billion left. Whatever it is now, I don't know. But it doesn't put him into debt. Like I said, the guy with the cheeseburgers and the cigarettes and the beer diet, I don't know. I didn't look through his stuff, but I could tell you his system was making enough energy that he could overcome poor lifestyle choices. So those people, like I would always ask when I would go to all these courses, and I'm like, how come some people can get away with this? And, how come they can, well, they said, well, it's a nutritional disorder. Well, there's lots of people out there who eat bad. Why aren't they really sick? Yep. Well, it just depends. Well, it depends on what? And it's like, is this luck? Yes. Well, is it genetics and it's just the short straw? No, it's not. It's really based more in frequency. And again, there's a nutritional component to this too, but who you surround yourself with, the energy around all of those different types of people. If you can get the human body making a tremendous amount of energy, it starts to be able to have the resources to fix a lot of these different problems. But, there's different types there's basically 6 different fields of energy that the body will get. And right now, the way that we live, we get virtually none of those. Like, I'll give you the easiest one is, we have done a really terrible job as practitioners vilifying the sun. The sun is bad for you. Stay out of the sun. I hate to break it to you. There is no life on planet Earth without sun. Mm-hmm. So how could something that sustains life on this planet actually be bad for us? Mm-hmm. Now, you don't abuse it. You don't go out there, you don't do like what we did when we were kids and we wanted to get a nice tan, so you run Crisco oil on yourself and lay out there and roast your skin. That was dumb. But no one told us that.
Lay on the concrete and just fry for hours. Yes.
Everybody I've ever mentioned that joke to always laughs because they said they've done something like that. That was our generation. But the sun sustains us, right? But we're telling people stay away from it, right? We're telling people stay away from all of these natural frequencies, but don't worry about sleeping with your cell phone right next to your head. Mm. Look, technology is a wonderful thing, and we use a heavy technology-based practice in order to get results with our patients. But anything can be used for good, and sometimes it can be used for bad, right? So there, I wouldn't stick my head in a microwave.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not going to do well for you. So there's good frequencies and bad frequencies, and right now, if we're not replacing bad frequencies with good, we're seeing what we see now, which is people losing their health at a much, much, much earlier age.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Well, even when you're a kid, you're a kid and you're in school in 6th and 7th and 8th grade science, you hear about the mitochondria. You hear about the energy powerhouses in your body. And I remember when we first started hearing about the frequency and vibration and all these things, that's kind of where my brain went. It's like, but I have energy at times, and you can feel bad, but then all of a sudden you have this thought, or you meet somebody on this outside thing, and you feel better all of a sudden. Had nothing to do with the chemistry or the nutrition or the food. It was something else that went, oh, now I feel good. Like, is that kind of what we're talking about? And do you think in 100 years we're going to look back and people are going to go, why did we suffer so much? Like,
probably. Yeah. Yeah, I think we definitely will, because it goes to this thing is, as we learn more, we realize that KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid, applies. We learn more and we get more fancy about the things that we learn and the application of how we can get some of that stuff back. But it goes back to these really simple things of, hey, look, this is how we're made, right? You know, nature makes no mistakes, and it has very strict rules, and it doesn't really care if you break them. Nature is fairly unforgiving. So if you break natural law, it will bite back, and sometimes it bites back very hard. But, you know, there's ways that, you know, we can kind of live that line between the two. I always laughed because I would go to these seminars, especially about autoimmune disease, and they would say the greatest thing that you could do for an autoimmune disease is to fast, right? Go on a fast, take a bunch of days fasting. It helps to reset your immune system. And that's true. And then in the very next breath, they would tell them, and then the solution to this, to make it go away altogether, is take these 200 different supplements a day. And I would say, these are completely opposing ideologies. You're telling them don't eat anything is going to make them well. And then you're telling them, but they're nutritionally deficient and to take these 200 different supplements, and this is going to make them better. And it's illogical, you know, and I think that's where patients get stuck, because we're looking at it from a scientific perspective. They're looking at it, does this make sense? And the answer doesn't. You're telling them you have to change everything about the way that you eat. But they're like, but my friend eats terrible and he's fine. Right? My husband eats terrible and he's fine. That's why it always matters when you can marry chemistry with frequency. Because there is no chemistry without physics, right? Physics is the governing science. There is no chemical reaction without a physical response, with a physical reaction to it. So physics always acts on chemistry. You could show me scans, you could show me MRIs, you could show me lab work, you could show me all these things, and I could tell you some cool stuff off of it. But what I could not tell you was whether that person was alive or dead.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
If you show me the MRI of somebody, I could tell you cool stuff about the anatomy, but I can't tell you if that person is still living or they already died. Because this is about animation, right? We are animated, right? You come up with somebody who's animated, right? Wow, like that person made me feel good. I was loving being in their energy because they're so animated.
That's her. That's her.
And there's people just like that. That's great. No, it's a wonderful thing to have about you, right? They just have this life about them. But that's what it is. You know, when we get these terms, I'm big on words and language. That's where we get all of these terms that we put out there. Is, oh, you know, that person was so animated. They're full of life, right? It's what makes us. There's matter, and then there's animation of matter. You know, the desk that I'm sitting at doesn't have any animation, but we do. And the more we have that, the better we go. And we will look back in time, because this started way long ago. You know, they were talking about frequency medicine back in the 1920s.
Wow.
Right? You know, now, of course, those guys were heretics and lunatics, and, you know, they kind of did everything that they could to destroy them.
Yes.
And part of it was they didn't understand. You know, we didn't have the technology to prove what they were saying. Now we have the technology to prove what they're saying. And it's going to come to this tipping point where you know, people are going to have to understand. And that's why it always is so important for me to try to get that message out, try to get the understanding out, try to teach the science, again, in a simple way, so that people really understand, hey, look, that this isn't some out there woo-woo kind of concept. There's more science in what we're talking about than what they traditionally receive when they go to doctors.
It's crazy.
Well, and you spend a lot of your time teaching doctors.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, you spend a tremendous amount of your time teaching doctors. Think of 20 years ago when you first started, and the last 24 years, how do professionals and doctors, you know, how has that kind of that relationship? I mean, I can imagine in the beginning they looked at you like, huh? Like when your dog looks at you. And now I imagine it's completely different.
It is, depending, right? So I always laugh, because I'm like, if I met me 20 years ago, if I met 20 years ago me, we wouldn't get along. because I didn't understand all of this now. But again, it was my willingness to be open and be curious. And I didn't have, like I said, the luxury of saying, no, this is the way it had to be, because if I was wrong, my mom wasn't going to be around, and I had to, be open and willing to do whatever it took in order to get her better. And how I did that eventually just became semantics to me. I just cared about, her being well. I have some friends of mine that don't like I went to school with them, so they don't like what I do now because they're like, oh, you do all these things. Look, I got into this to get people well. How I get them well is semantics to me. Right? If they made a pill tomorrow, that your pharmaceutical drug that cured everybody with no side effects, guess who would recommend it? Now that's not going to happen, but I just care about well people and the education of that. So when we talk about it with doctors, though, you do start seeing this big shift if they'll listen to the whole story. The whole story is of the fact of when you can make it very scientific and not out there. And it's this very logical, this happens and then that happens. And again, thankfully, we have brilliant guys and gals out there doing the research to figure all this stuff out. But when you can start really telling that story in a narrative form, it's one of those things is once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
You just clicks.
But I'm still amazed at times when I sit with doctors, every time I lecture to doctors, someone, more than one, will invariably come up to me and say, this is fascinating. This is the coolest thing I've ever heard. I mean, I don't want to do it in practice, but this is really unbelievable. And I was like, why don't you want to do it in practice? Like, isn't this important for your patients to know? Like, isn't this the difference between being well and not being well? Like, don't they deserve all of it? But, there's this, whatever we feel this limitation is, right? It's hard. It's what if my patients don't understand? And that's where we work really hard, is to try to get that message out and that understanding out. Because believe me, if people had the full understanding of it, it would be game over.
And
that's what's happening.
And that's why you're coming to Dallas. And that is our goal, man. That is our goal.
Oh, Dr. Rob, it's crazy because we were getting ready to start a company. And, I just lost my mother-in-law to a really bad illness, Dave's mom. And, at the time I was like, we're going to do minerals. Like for the rest of my life, I'm going to get everyone to get the toxins out and the minerals in. And I was just dead set because I had an emotional response and I wanted a high impact product, right? So my brain was like, to my kids, I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life trying to spend more days on this earth with you. So in my brain, I was like, I already work really hard on my energy, my state of mind, my environment, like all of those things. But so did she. And there was so much trauma that happened, and there was so much stress, and there was so much worry, and like a lot of unfortunate things, losing a child, going through a divorce, several battles with the same illness, some legal thing, just all kinds of stuff that created such emotion. I was trying to put my pinpoint on it. Like, she was into nutrition. We've been in nutrition for 30 years. She was with us every day. But we noticed when there was a higher vibration, when there were good things happening, things were better. Well, then fast forward a year ago when our oldest daughter had an accidental overdose, we were starting Frequence. We knew we were going to do this. We didn't know it was going to be called Frequence. We didn't know we were going to have frequency. We thought it was toxins out, minerals in, and my kids were like, the products have to be good and the labels have to be clean, and you've met Chance and Daisy. Like, they're all about...
We just want people to feel good.
We wanted everybody to feel good, right?
That's it. That's the goal.
But the day my daughter, Brooklyn, applied a tuning to her body that was getting well, it didn't matter what she had done before. That day, frequency and nutrition was a different day. Now, the thing about it is, people feel good and they're like, oh, I think this is working. But then how do you get people to stay on that regimen? So that's why, we took the Rise, the Sync, the Source, and, obviously put the tuning in this little medallion. We've been trying to explain this now for 90 days. And I'm so excited that you are coming to Dallas, because the only thing we say is energy is everything and everything is energy. We took 11 harmonic frequencies in a proprietary blend, because if we shared it all, everyone would want to be doing what we're doing, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm sure you do some of the same things in your practice. And, you're the best of the best. I cannot even believe, I have to pinch myself, that you agreed to miss your daughter's night of performing and come to Dallas and spend the whole day with everyone in the field. And I know that day, we have about an hour and a half where you're really going to get people dialed into frequencies, how they work, and getting better. But if you were just going to give somebody, if they can't wait until August, right? And they're like, I need to know how this works. Somebody's taken this product and they're like, I don't know, I just feel different. I can't explain it. And then if they try to go down the rabbit hole, their customer is confused. What is your one little, fifth grade level? This is why they feel better because of the 11 harmonic frequencies we have on the product.
Yeah. So, and I am going to my daughter's first 2 nights of her play.
I know.
So she's like, okay, if I miss the third night, I'm not being a bad dad. Yeah. She's like, a third night, she's like, whatever, that's an easy night. We're going to do the first 2 nights.
Well, we're so glad you're agreeing to come. I am so excited.
Again, this is a long time coming. This is a mission. This is a purpose. I think this information has to get out there because frequency is going to be the way. Whether we get there kicking and screaming, it's why people ask me, like, why don't you write papers? Why don't you write books? Because nobody cares about that stuff except me. Like, I read research papers. The proof is in the pudding. Can you make these problems go away? Do autoimmune diseases go away this way? Yes. Why do they go away? It's a simple explanation. Once we get enough people doing that, and I can train enough doctors to be able to keep recreating that, and it's not just me, then all of a sudden, well, now that's the standard of care.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right? That's the standard of care, and that's what shifts the market, not so much like, hey, I wrote a paper that nobody ever read. But think of it this way. If you're now this was easier back in the day, again, dating myself, when we had the little turn dials on your radios, right? When you were trying to tune your radios with the little turn dials. But if you're driving in your car and you want to listen to the country music station, right? There's a specific frequency on that radio dial. In Vegas, it's 95.5. You got to get to 95.5 to hear that country music station. Well, what happens if it's 95.6? Well, you hear it, but it's a little staticky, right? That music ain't quite so clear. And the further away you get from that, the music gets less and less clear. You get more and more static. There's less and less enjoyment, and the experience is completely different.
Wow.
And really what you're doing through harmonics and frequency, which again is how the human body works, and it's very much based upon our connection with nature. And that's what we're going to talk about when we come to Dallas and we formulate all these things, is you're basically just tuning that back. You're tuning that back so you can hear that radio station and that your favorite song is crystal clear. The better the communication in the human body, the less confusion. With confusion is inflammation, and everybody knows inflammation is bad. When you confuse the human body, you inflame. Mm-hmm. When you start getting everybody on the same page, and emotion plays a huge role in all of this. Think, you could have a 10-hour workday or a 10-minute argument, and you are more exhausted after that 10-minute argument than you are after that 10-hour workday. There is nothing that steals energy from the human body like unresolved emotion.
Wow.
And the body stores that. It's like your computer running slow and you hit the Control-Alt-Delete and you see not responding, all these programs running in the background. You didn't even know they're on there.
Wow.
But they're sucking up all your memory and they're eating up all your RAM and your computer's running slow. And if you can end tasks, and you can do that with frequency, if you can end tasks, all of a sudden now your computer is starting to go real fast again. This is what we're talking about. It's literally tuning the human body the same way you tune a beautiful piano to play perfectly, or a guitar or an instrument, or your radio stations, right? Like, these are concepts that we understand, but we think that has nothing to do with us. Mm-hmm. Believe me, it has everything to do with us. Anything that we understand that you see in science fiction movies all comes from the understanding of how the human body actually works with all these things. But we understand it so well now, we can apply this to improve the human experience. And that's the goal.
I cannot wait.
I can't wait for, well, not just Dallas. I can't wait for just this relationship. And again, it's like you said, I love the passion of, what if you really could explain this in a way where it clicked and people could feel good? And when they didn't, they knew why. And they could get back to those things that truly do make you feel better. So, man, thank you so much, Dr. Rob, for sharing today, popping on. We're going to have so many more of these. People are going to be knocking your door down going, now, wait a second, what did he say?
And they keep saying, can we get the science? Can we get the research? And it's so hard to put that together and to not share your proprietary blend. But when we were working with the scientist and the guy that does all of our tuning, he's like, there is a frequency for every organ in your body. And the first
time for decades, and there's been for decades. Yeah. It's not new.
Yeah. And the first time Chance and Daisy brought Rosie to you, and they sent me a picture of her laying there getting her tuning. You know, it's the same thing, just on a much different level that most people cannot even understand. And I will tell you, Dr. Rob, I will not make any health claims, but the first time I saw her hold her bottle, and I had waited for 10 months, I literally wanted to drive to Vegas to your house and just give you the biggest hug. And, you know, a couple months later, she's starting to push up and try to crawl. And I mean, we're all doing everything we can every single day, all of us on a daily basis to feel better, to do better, and to help the people that we love. And Dave and I have a passion and a purpose here. We just don't really know how to explain how it all works. So super excited to be able to introduce our field and all of our customers to you. Dr. Rob, cannot wait to get some of your trainings on video for the people to meet you in person. And we just wanted to jump on here for a minute and give people a little thumbnail sketch, just a little sliver of the piece of pie that they're going to get. And just again, thank you so much for taking time out to share, and can't wait to meet you in person.
Yes, my pleasure. It's the tip of the iceberg. It's going to be great.
Thank you so much. We'll see you all in Dallas.
See you guys. There you go, everybody. I'm literally sitting here. I was on the interview, and I'm sitting here like this, like I'm hearing it again and again and again. And Barb's in the background with tears in her eyes. I mean, it's amazing. So that's just a little tidbit of the future of Frequency, y'all. So, Callie, I know you have some very special things that you are getting ready to do. So, once again, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Do not miss Rise and Vibe Summit. It's what you're going to hear about the rest of this month. But this month seems to be about nothing but giveaways. So, Callie, pick careful. Let's give some more stuff away.
Yes. Okay. So we have given away, I think, 14 giveaways already today. But Patty and I were thinking on this Zoom, just to kind of wrap it up. Honestly, that was the first time I fully listened to that interview, and I am so excited for Dallas. I had goosebumps the whole entire time. I loved reading the chat too. Like, I'm so excited that we have Dr. Rob on our team. So the last giveaway of today, the 7 that win here are going to, I think, get the last 7 spots in the VIP lunch with Dr. Rob. So let's get right into it and see who our lucky winners are. And make sure that my screen sharing works. Dad, let me know if my screen sharing does work. Can you guys see
I see a spinny wheel. Yes.
All right. Let's see who our next 7 are. All right. Joanna Mast is our first one. Congrats, Joanna. Whoop, whoop. And Raina Imha, our second winner. And our third is Susan Davidson, third winner, going to be going to the VIP lunch with Dr. Rob. I'm sure we're going to ask him a million questions and talk his ear off, but Susan Taylor, congrats. Number 4, so what, 3 more? All right, 3 more. Christina Wisniewski. Hopefully I said that right. Christina Wisniewski, you are winner number 4. 4? All right, Belinda Smith. Belinda Smith, and is this our last one? Yeah. All right, and our last winner of the VIP lunch is Catherine Hickman. Awesome. All right, so those are our giveaways for today. We will have, we're going to be going live 3 times tomorrow with more giveaways, so stay tuned to the Facebook group, and I think that's it. Yeah.
I have to break in for just a second because I don't want you to mislead them. We actually have 20 more seats at Dr. Rob's. So get registered tonight because there's seats available and you want to have one.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. That was my bad. I was going to say, get registered tonight. If you get registered tonight, your odds of winning tomorrow, they're just getting better and better because there's already been so many winners. They're being taken out of the wheel. So get ready. And I think we'll have 3 more tomorrow. And I think that's it. Are we good to go?
That is awesome. Great job, Cal. Thank you, you and Patty, for always putting these things together so they run so smoothly and so perfectly. And yes, hope you all I hope you have a different view and kind of a look at the future of where we're headed and what some of our goals are, making this not just a household name as a company, but it's the mission. It's the mission to help people get their body, like Dr. Rob said, tuned back how it's supposed to be. So it's going to be awesome. Thank you guys, and pay attention. Lots of winners tomorrow. Lots of winners, and I hope to see some more mocktail stuff. I don't know if I should have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rises a day, but I really want to mix everything I see and try them. Have a great night, everybody.
Alrighty. See you guys.